Hi. Okay, running late, so here we go. Today we're gonna talk about what I think is really shitty about some parenting. So let me turn the camera around and we'll get going. Okay. Hopefully you can see me okay. All right, here, I'm worried. There we go. I think that's better. Okay, let's talk about shitty parenting, because I think there's some really shitty parenting out there, and I don't think that we acknowledge or talk about it enough, right? So, first off, I want to say that I have done some of these things. So I'm calling out myself too. Like, this isn't anything that I haven't been through and worked through myself, right? But I think there are some really bad parenting practices out there. And there's like two main things that I really am thinking about. Well, okay, three. Number one is spanking. Like, that is never okay. Physically abusing your child is not okay, even to teach them, as some parents say, even to teach them respect, right? That is not a discipline practice. That is productive. And you can say, well, I was spanked when I was a kid. No, I'm so sorry. That's awful for you. What an awful way to say, like, I'm the parent, I'm stronger, I'm bigger, and so I'm going to beat you. I'm going to punish you so that you do better. No, that's abusive. And then if our parents did that to us, like, what does that mean? Like, as women, what will we tolerate from partners? And as men, what will we tolerate from partners? And honestly, like, men, you know, what does that mean that our kids will take away? Like, what will they do to their partners, right? And so it's, or even women, what will they do to their partners? So it's just this awful thing. And I think spanking's been talked about enough and in popular culture that it's really, really phasing out. Like, spanking is one of those things that's on its way out, and I'm very grateful for that. But there's still those parents who, like, use a flip-flop or smack their kids on the side of the head or pinch their kids, and that's also not okay. That still falls into the realm of some sort of physical abuse to get your kid to comply, and that's not okay. That's a shitty parenting practice, and there's better ways to get your kids to cooperate. There's better ways to get your kids to listen. I have one of the strongest willed children I have ever met in my entire life. I and my husband, we do not use physical punishment, because in the long run, it will only make him angry, and that anger will stay in him until he finds a way to process through, whether that's therapy, you know, whether that ends up being some sort of substance abuse, like, and no, I'm not being dramatic here. That's how bad this is. Physical abuse is awful, and it has no place in parenting, nor should it, ever. Another thing I think is a really bad parenting is yelling. I think that can really get up there when it comes, like, as far as, like, and not that we want to compare, they're awful in their own ways, right? But yelling is still an awful parenting technique. And I will be the first to fess up and say, yeah, sometimes I do yell and I don't like it. And so I worked so hard on my own self, on my own triggers, on my own, like, childhood traumas to get past whatever it is that I'm feeling so that I don't yell at my kids. And if I ever catch myself yelling at my kids, I immediately stop, and I always apologize, because, of course, I'm human. I have my own things I'm working through. My kids deserve respect. I respect them, and then they'll respect me. And so yelling's really bad, because the words can stay with us and with our kids for a really, really long time. In fact, I bet you can look back into your own childhood and remember some things that your parents said or a teacher said, right, about you, and you're still kind of holding on to that. Like, I remember hearing a story once of from a guy, and he was like, I remember I was pretty young, you know, at, like, early elementary, and my dad said, oh, you're so slow. And he said, that's always stuck in my mind. He goes, and it took me a really long time and working through therapy and stuff to really realize that I would stop myself, and that was really a big hindrance for me. And you think it's so innocent, right? You're like, you're so slow. Like, I've said that sometimes, you know, where you're like, oh, you're being so slow. Come on, we've got things to do, you know, but we've got to be so careful with the words we say. And this isn't we can never say anything bad to our children. Oh, we have to be so careful. Oh, we need to watch everything we say. we've got to be so conscientious of it. Yeah. But are we going to say bad things? Yes, we will. And do we apologize for those things? Yes, we will. And will it still be up to our kids to work through them later? Yes, it will. But we need to be very conscious of what we're saying, especially when we're angry and when we're triggered and we're frustrated, right? So it's the words that come out when we're angry, when we're not getting what we want, when we'd like to be out the door, but the kids are taking forever. You know, when we're on like battle number 35 of the day and our patience is here, right? That's when we really have to dig in and look at ourselves and do the work so that we're not turning around and yelling and saying things to our kids that we don't mean. Now, do I believe that there is also a place for a very firm voice? Yes, I've been accused of yelling when my voice was slightly raised, right? And I'm like, okay, enough. And we're putting a boundary. I'm putting a boundary down, right? So has that happened? Yes, absolutely. My kids are like, stop yelling at me. Okay, you're right. I've raised my voice slightly. I'm putting the boundary down. That's not yelling, right? That's not angrily responding to. That's me firmly putting down a limit. And there is a place for that. There is, you know. Sometimes kids need that little bit of warning in your voice, sure. I also, obviously, there's a couple of exceptions to this, like to the yelling thing. Your kids in immediate physical danger, like they're running towards the street and a car's coming, yeah, absolutely you should yell and get their attention. Yes, really what I'm talking about when it comes to harmful yelling is, one, not knowing better ways to work with your own kids. Like, if this is every night and you're just mad because they're not getting their PJs on or getting in the bath, like, that's on you. That's on the systems and that you've created with your kids, right? But if it's like physical danger, if there's like something going on, that's different. That's different than like angry, triggered yelling. So, okay, let's talk really fast. Let's do a really quick little side note about kids who don't listen to what you say. So, for example, you've asked your kid 5 times, to go get in the bath, and they are not listening to what you said. That means you've missed a couple of things as a parent, and there's some things you can do better. Number 1, did you get down, look them in the eyes, and calmly say, hi, you're playing right now. You're in the middle of watching a show right now. It's bath time next. Would you like to have a bath time now or in 5 minutes? Because kids need choices. No one wants to be like, say you're scrolling on your phone and your spouse walks up to you and is like, do the dishes. And you're like, I'm on my phone, I'm in the middle of something, right? Like that just, it doesn't feel nice, right? And it doesn't feel nice for our kids either. Why do they need to be on our specific timeline? So are there things that need to get done? Is it our job to help get them through the day? Yes, absolutely. Also, it doesn't feel good to be walked up to and demanded to do something. So we, with our kids, always ask them to, if they're watching on their phone or TV or playing a video game, to pause. We look them in the eye. We say, would you like to do it now or in 5 minutes? 99% of the time they choose in 5 minutes. And then I say, okay, 5 minutes, we agree, I'm setting a timer, let's shake on it. In 5 minutes, you'll get off and you'll come take a bath, no fussing, right? Deal? And they shake on it, yes. I give them 5 minutes, we have the timer, the boundary goes, timer goes off. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, please go get in the bath. If there's resistance, I say, remember, we agreed to it. Mommy's gonna pause the show for you, right? There's also a lack of connection if our kids are really not listening to us. So have we played with our kids recently? Like, have we just had one-on-one time with them that's not around an activity, like not around asking them to eat dinner or around getting them ready for bed or around doing homework or around doing chores? Like, have we just sat and played and connected with them? So if our kids aren't listening to us, it's because we've missed some things as parents, right? And that feels awful because normally we hear like, oh, your kid's just stubborn, oh, they just need to respect you, oh, this and that. It's like, no, there's things as parents we've messed up on, right? Yeah, so little side note, little tangent there. And if you're really like finding a lot of resistance from your kids, send me a message. Let's talk. I've got so much more to share on this. I've got so much more to teach you about this. There's so much more to it. Anyways, number 3, that I think is a shitty thing that parents do is shame their kids into behaving. And this is something I still struggle with. I'm still working through a lot of shame that I hold from my childhood, right? And so it's a lot of this like, oh, eat your dinner, there's hungry kids in China. What the heck? What does that have to do with my dinner? If my body's full, my body's full. Now, do we understand that sometimes kids need a little bit of encouragement because they won't eat the dinner we made? Yeah, absolutely. We still have a 5-bite minimum in our house. Mommy made this for dinner. You need to have at least 5 bites. 2 bites of this, 2 bites, 2 bites of protein, 2 bites of vegetables, 2 bites of rice. Then you can go make yourself something else if you really don't like it, right? Sure. Absolutely. But me saying, oh, well, there's so many starving children out there, you need to finish your plate, is shaming your children to get them to comply, and I don't like it. It's such a bad way. Like, what? Oh, and maybe it's because I was given a lot of it, and maybe a lot of us are given a lot of it, and I'm like, it just really makes me uncomfortable, and it's something that I try so hard not to do. It's something I've really worked to heal in myself so that I don't pass that down to my kids, just shaming your kids into behaving just is, I don't like it. Like, we had a situation the other day where it was like, well, if you had, someone had told my daughter, like, well, don't you want to do this with me? If you can't do that, how are you supposed to do this? And I was like, whoa. We're not shaming her into getting ready. Thank you. Like, shaming your kids into behaving is not, that means I don't like it. Again, it's one of those things where I have a lot more to say about it, and, just shaming. Really not good, really kind of shitty. And again, it's something that a lot of times it's something that our parents did, right? It's one of the techniques that they use if, it's one of those things that our parents did a lot of, right? Of like shaming us into complying, shaming us into behaving. And so if you catch yourself shaming, I learned this technique from one of my coaches, was that you do something called eat the muffin. So if you find yourself yelling, you find yourself shaming your kid, eat the muffin. You find out, you say what you catch yourself, you go up, you eat the muffin, and you keep your mouth closed, and you catch yourself. And then you really think about it. So if you find yourself yelling, eat the muffin, count to 10 and say, whoa, I was yelling, I must have been really frustrated. If you find yourself shaming your kid, well, when I was a kid, I didn't do this. Nope, eat the muffin. Stop it and say, oh, it's not fair for me to compare you to myself when I was little. It's not fair to compare me to your brother. I'm sorry. Eat the muffin. And let's do better for our kids. So, we're just about where we're going to be. So that's just about it for today. But these are just some things that are really kind of on my mind today. Of like, hey, this is kind of shitty behavior. Let's call this out. The same way I'm gonna call out my kids when they're doing something bad, I will call out myself when I'm doing something that's not working or something that's like not great, And that's really kind of what I have for today. And if you really are enjoying these, please let me know if you have any questions you want me to answer, just on this quick little drive every day while I go get my kids from school. I would love to hear it. But no, I'm really enjoying this. I really like talking to you. I think it's really kind of a lot of fun. So that's about it for today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.